Other problem, part of the problem is it becomes a business. Because a lot of these women, they will then start. Do you know what an OnlyFans is?
Yeah.
So they'll then start an OnlyFans, and so men will subscribe to get small messages from them, or to get individualized photos or videos from them, and these women make an extraordinary amount of money.
Yeah,
and it's really quite shocking. So they're making, way more than they've ever made in their life doing this, but yet they're in a committed relationship with a man. And so the man has to deal with the fact that not only is his woman out there, on display, but she's signaling that she's desiring better mates.
Yeah. Well, and I think your point about some developmental issue is relevant. We do have empirical data on attachment styles. So basically there are these, they call them 3 different attachment styles, which is an oversimplification, but securely attached. So, do you tend to trust other people? You feel confident in a stable relationship. There's anxious attached, which is you're always worried your partner is going to leave you or cheat on you, or maybe you have a history of partners leaving you or cheating on you. And then there's what's called ambivalent attachment style, where there are people, both men and women, who they don't really want an intimate romantic relationship. They kind of avoid, if someone gets too close, they kind of push them away. And in studies of infidelity, the securely attached have the lowest rates of infidelity, and my guess probably the lowest rates of these Instagram posts or OnlyFans vocations. Whereas, and then the second is the anxious attached, but the most is in terms of infidelity rate is the avoidant attachment style. And so women with that avoidant attachment style are also likely to be high on narcissism and probably engage in that behavior. And also,
could you please explain avoidant attachment?
Yeah. So these are people who don't like close, intimate relationships, and so they avoid them and try to be. If it gets too close, they push them away. They want to maintain their independence. And so even if they're married, there's this distance. There's always this pushing away of the other person and of intimacy, psychological intimacy with that other person. And so these are, women who are more likely to engage in short-term mating and more likely to have affairs if they're in a long-term mateship.
Now, has there been studies done on those type of people? Is that because those women have experienced abusive relationships in the past and they're worried about being committed to someone because that person then starts to put restrictions on them and gets very jealous and very mean to them?
It's a good question, and we don't know. So there's some speculation. So the dominant thinking, which I don't necessarily subscribe to, is that it really stems from the mother-infant attachment bond. So if you have like a mother or other parental figure who wasn't there for you, who was erratic and so you couldn't rely on them, then the notion is that the infant learners, they can't rely on other people, so they better do stuff by themselves or on their own.
That makes sense.
And the idea is that attachment style, which some claim gets fixed in infancy, then carries over into adulthood when you form romantic relations. And so the anxious or secure or ambivalent attachment style in infancy gets transported into adult. That's the theory anyway.
But that completely makes sense. If your parents were never around, or they weren't reliable, or they're shitty to you,
yeah. The reason I just want to add a note of an asterisk by that is that there is a correlation. They do find a correlation between the infant attachment style and the later adult attachment style, but parents are also contributing genes as well as environment, and so it might be that the parents who themselves are kind of inconsistent, not there for the kids or whatever, and are off maybe having affairs on their own or whatever, transmit genes to their children that dispose them toward those styles, as well as an environment. And so studies haven't been done to try to disentangle the genetic effects versus these parental effects on attachment style.
Interesting. If you were going to study social media and its impact on dating strategies, one of the things that would be really fascinating is the amount of options. Like, if you're a single person today and you have an Instagram page where you're trying to present yourself as an attractive mate, one of the weirder things today is manipulation, right? Like, people are using filters, and they're using these deceptive tactics that change the shape of their body, change the shape of their face, the tone of their skin. I mean, it's really pretty extraordinary when you see what can be done with these filters. And so there's that, which is to signal to others that they're more attractive than they actually are physically. Then there's virtue signaling in the form of what they write in their posts, whether they're proclaiming their support for climate change or Black Lives Matter or whatever. They're trying to put themselves into a moral high ground position. And then there's the sexually suggestive poses that go along with that. And hilariously enough, oftentimes you have all three of those things combined. Like, they're trying to go for the coup de grace. They're in their underwear with their butt up in the air talking about social issues while they're using a filter.
Yeah.
And it's, I would imagine that just this platform, whichever one you're talking about, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or whatever, these platforms are fertile breeding grounds for all sorts of pathologies, narcissism, sociopathy, like all sorts of bizarre behavioral characteristics that are encouraged by these social media applications and the impact that it has on people. Like, oftentimes, like, I'll just randomly scroll through my search feed.
Could I grab some coffee?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you.
And I will find some person, just an average human being who, takes photos in their underwear, and they have 4 million followers, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of people. That's never been achieved before.
Hello guys, thank you all for watching this. I hope you have a good and a productive day. The advice is linked to the video, of course, like always, and I really want to discuss about this OnlyFans problem, And what I mean by that, I think we are looking at the OnlyFans problem like the wrong way, because there are a bunch of people who are criticizing the girls who are doing OnlyFans, and they're missing quite an important point on this, because the real blame is on people who are actually watching that, who are actually paying those girls to do that stuff, At this point, I think we all knew that the women who are doing OnlyFans are doing it for the money in the first place and for the attention, because you have thousands of men who praise you and who wants your attention and who are giving you their attention. And I think if you are just educating men to be okay with maybe being alone a couple of months, let's say, or maybe engage in real social interactions, maybe I think we should just encourage men to be more alive, more out there than just stay on the computer, because this is the thing. If you think about it logically, that would be no OnlyFans accounts if no one would watch it, if no one would want it, in the first place. So I think the solution to all of this is just to educate men to be more okay with being alone, because a lot of men who are subscribed to that OnlyFans pages are lonely, are sad, maybe depressed, maybe they don't know how to talk to a woman, maybe they did not have a woman in their entire life. Most of them probably are porn addicts, and yeah, I think we should solve the core problem first. Because this is the thing, like when you're alone and you're horny and you're at home alone again, you're kind of seeking some social interaction with someone, you're kind of seeking some attention from someone, and you think that you're getting some attention from that girls, but in the end they're just making some profit out of you, so basically you're the product on that time. And I think we all should know the damage that OnlyFans does to you. First, as a person who is watching, consuming OnlyFans, and second to the person who is using OnlyFans, because like it said in this video, like persons who are promoting themselves, having OnlyFans, Instagram accounts, they're faking their identity, and in the long-term relationships they are insecure, then they can provide an attachment style, This is because they are so used to so much attention, getting so much attention from random men who are just horny, because that's the thing. Nobody subscribed to an OnlyFans just because they are feeling lonely. They are feeling lonely and they are feeling horny in the same time. They are seeking connection, but they are too shy to go in the real world and find that connection. I think this is the solution for it. We should encourage men to be more masculine, more strong, because remember, and I'm saying this in every video, like when you're a weak person, every bad habit that comes to you is going to stay for a long time. Like if you're a weak person, you're going to attract bad habits, and consuming OnlyFans, and especially explicit content, it's a weakness. Okay, it doesn't matter how many times you do it per day, or if you are just doing it from a while, it doesn't matter. It's still a weakness. It's still the fact that you're not going out and trying to pursue that thing in the real life. And it's insane to think about it, like the amount of OnlyFans accounts that are created every day. It's insane, bro. The numbers are insane. This is a fast-growing industry, and the why is it a fast-growing industry? Because this is not just pornography anymore. There are just not just nudes. They are just social interaction. Those men pay a lot of money to get in a phone call with that girl from OnlyFans. To hear a female voice, or to have somebody to talk with them in a certain way. Why that business is so successful? Because it's deep psychology in it, it's deep stuff in it. It's so abstractive when you're thinking about it, like someone just created something like this, so you get in the man's brain, not just the horny part, but on the lonely part. You just I'm trying to find the words now. You're just manipulating that guy to think that he's special, and he's having a conversation with a very hot woman, and wow, he's such a king, when in reality he's just jerking off to some nudes. And the reality is quite sad, because when you're finished, for some people, they understand in that moment what they did, and they feel bad for them. And the worst part is they can't give up, they can't get out of it, because they are doing this for like, let's say 2 years, and it's so hard to just leave that thing behind you. Stop with this discussion, like BS discussion, come on, about what a man and what a woman is, Like, let's discuss some things that are really serious, like the harm that those applications make to man to woman in the long term. The fact that nobody wants a relationship nowadays because everyone cheats, everyone is getting into a relationship, and after 2 months you find out they cheated on you, or they are just not into you, they are just trying to get a higher body count. I don't know what those people are thinking. Discuss some serious stuff. Let's discuss the insecurities that men have nowadays. Let's discuss the fragile men nowadays. Let's discuss the women who are willing to go in a long-term relationship, but they are just getting played by playboys, you know, because this is a thing nowadays, like being a playboy and treating women like shit. I don't know, bro. Like we live in a crazy world, and it's not a good crazy, you know. It's the worst craziness that I ever saw. So yeah, this is it. If you like what you heard and you want to see more, hit the like and the subscribe button. And until I get you in the next one, watch this video over here, because this one is a powerful one. Peace.